What's down, people, and welcome back to another episode of Ghetto Gospel. So where we left off at, God made the first covenant with Noah, his family, and all the creatures that came up off the ark. A covenant is like a promise, but way deeper. And God covenant say that he ain't gonna destroy the earth again with a flood. All right, let's get into Noah's family drama. So in verse 18, it say that Noah and his sons got off the boat. And then it tell you his sons' names again. Ham, Shem, and Japheth. We all understand that's just going back and giving details here, not saying it happened all over again. We talked about that in episode 7, but then God go out of his way to tell you that Noah's son Ham got a son named Canaan. That seemed like unnecessary information, right? I once heard an old preacher say, whenever the Bible give you information that seem unnecessary, pay close attention to it. It's probably important. So let's see what we can find here. Now, when everybody got on the boat and when they got off, it ain't say nothing about Noah having no grandkids. It actually kept repeating that it was just Noah, his wife, his sons, and his sons' wives, which mean that Canaan must have been born after they got off the boat. So this piece in verse 18 was just foreshadowing. That being said, it don't tell us much about this Canaan dude yet. And the next thing it say is that the whole earth got repopulated from these 3 sons of Noah. It used to be common for all of the descendants of somebody to be called sons of them. Like later on when they say Jesus is the son of David. That don't mean he a direct son. It just mean that he a descendant or in the line of David. So when it say that the earth was repopulated from these 3 sons of Noah, it's being specific. And to be honest with you, I ain't sure why. You would think that all of Noah's sons and grandsons and so on repopulated the earth. But the way it come across in the original language, it seemed like it's something special about these 3 sons of Noah. But I ain't found no explanation of what that is. So the next thing it say is that Noah planted him some grapes, made him some wine, and got drunk as a skunk. And then for some reason got naked in his tent. I done heard about people getting drunk and taking off their clothes, so I guess it's not that weird. But what happened next absolutely is. So Noah's son Ham see him naked, and then he go tell his brothers. The other 2 brothers take a sheet, put it over their shoulders, and walk backwards so they don't see nothing, and cover their pops up. And then when Noah woke up and found out that Ham saw him naked, he was hot as fish grease and started cursing Canaan, his son. Y'all catch the call back? Wait, what? I ain't gonna lie. Every time I ever read that, I was like, so Noah got drunk and went streaking, and then he wanna get mad because somebody saw him naked. Like, what you thought was gonna happen? Don't get me wrong. I still feel a little bit like that, but it's more going on when you look at the original Hebrew. Don't get it twisted though. This right here is still a mystery that ain't 100% clear, and a lot of folks don't agree on what actually happened. So when you go back to the part where Noah planted the vineyard, the first word in that verse got a bunch of different definitions, but just about all of them get the impression that Noah was up to no good. It's the same word that was used when people started calling God out of his name, which was part of what led to the flood in the first place. And then when you get to that part about him being naked in his tent, that word for uncovered, you might have heard of it, is gala. Before gala was a party where Hollywood folks wear ridiculous looking expensive clothing, it was the word the ancient Sumerians used to refer to their male temple prostitutes. And when I dig into it, as far as I can tell, that was one of the first historical instances of androgyny. And when they say that Shem and Japheth walked backwards to cover up they pop's nakedness, that word for nakedness is a different word than what's used in Genesis to refer to Adam and Eve's nakedness. The word they use for Noah's nakedness has more to do with shame and indecency than it do with just being bare. So when Noah wake up and find out that Ham done saw him naked, he start cursing that man out, telling him his son Canaan gonna be a slave to his brothers. And I'm just like, what the heck Canaan did? And then after that, the next thing you read is that Noah died. So now, you still confused, ain't you? Good. So am I. But at least you got the actual facts to be confused with. When we start digging into the Hebrew, we get a sense that something sketchy happened, but we ain't got enough info to really drill down and come up with a concrete answer on what actually happened. And that's fine, as long as we don't make up a best guess and then call it the truth. So one last thing to address. A lot of folks over the years didn't use this story about Noah cursing Canaan as so-called biblical proof that people from Africa and the African diaspora is cursed and inferior. If Canaan's curse was the kind that was hereditary, that argument still wouldn't hold no weight for a few reasons. But one major one is the fact that Ham had 3 other kids, and 2 of them had kids, and it don't say that Noah cursed them. As far as I could tell, his kids mostly ended up moving to the Middle East and to Northern Africa. Later on, we're gonna talk about the Table of Nations. But for right now, just know that God ain't racist. A lot of people who say they serve him is racist. It's a whole bunch of them around, but God's still out here providing oxygen and gravity to everybody on earth and salvation to anybody who come to him asking for it. I know this was a long one, so I'm gonna wrap it up. I'll see y'all next week. And as always, peace, and I hope y'all people straight.